I have a 24 horsepower twin-cylinder Briggs and Stratton engine in my lawn tractor. The engine ran fine when I turned it off 1 week ago. When I went to start it again, the engine would crank over, but would not start. I replaced the spark plugs with new ones. I poured a small amount of gasoline in the carburetor. The engine would crank over, but it still refused to run. There are several kill switches on the mower, but I am not sure that is the problem. Any suggestions?
Welcome to Just Answer Small Engines. Let me try to help you. Pull spark plug and we plug grounded. See if you have spark. If no spark, locate the single kill wire that goes to the twin coils and unplug it, then check for spark again. If you now have spark, check the kill wire and the ignition switch. One could be grounding the coils. Our chat has ended, but you can still continue to ask me questions here until you are satisfied with your answer. Come back to this page to view our conversation and any other new information. What happens now? Or, you can reply to me using the box below.
I pulled the new spark plugs out and left the magneto/coil wires attached to the plugs and cranked the engine over several times. I didn't get a spark out of either plug. I could not locate the single kill wire you described between the magneto/coils. I disconnected the two twin magneto/coils. I took them to a local lawn mower repair shop to have them checked. Both of the magneto/coils checked out bad. I ordered two new replacement magneto/coils. It will take several days before the parts come in and I am able to install them. We will then see if the engine starts. I have another tractor problem that may or may not be related to the magneto/coil problem. The battery keeps running down after a couple of uses and I then have to recharge the battery to start the tractor. This tractor has an electric PTO, power takeoff, unit that engages the cutting blades and draws heavily upon the battery when activated. Is there an alternator on this engine and could it also be going bad? If there is, where is it located and how do I have it checked? The battery is relatively new and holds a good charge when it is recharged. Is there anything else that would keep the battery from recharging? I forgot to give you detail info about this engine. It is a 24 horsepower Intek V-twin engine by Briggs and Stratton. Model, 445,677 Type 0413E1 Code, 050523YG. I purchased it in 2006.
The alternator is under the flywheel and has a regulator mounted on the engine. Two wires come from under the flywheel and go to the regulator. A single wire goes from the regulator to the starter solenoid. Start by checking battery voltage with key off, then read the battery with the engine running at full throttle. With engine running, the voltage should increase at least 1 volt. Then turn on the PTO clutch. The voltage has to stay above 12 volts. If not, then the regulator and alternator need to be checked.
Curtis, I am still waiting on the two magneto coils to install on my Briggs and Stratton 24 horsepower twin-cylinder engine for the lawn tractor. What is the gap that is needed when reinstalling the magneto coils?
Gap needs to be 0.008 to 0.012 in.
Curtis, I installed the two new magneto coils, but the engine still will not start. I put a small amount of gasoline into the carburator, cranked the engine over, but it does not ignite the gas and occasionally a load pop will occur. Any suggestions?
Pull the valve covers and check the pushrods and valves. Be sure they are working. With spark and fuel, engine should have started for a few seconds, if not, could be valve problem. That is what I would try next. Need to eliminate the valves.
Curtis, I pulled the valve covers from each cylinder and found a bent and disconnected push rod in each. Good call. Can I straighten and reuse the push bars or must I purchase new ones?
Get new ones, you can replace the aluminum ones with steel.
Curtis, I have already straightened the one slightly bent aluminium push rod and the one slightly bent steel push rod, one from each cylinder. Since it is a weekend and I might not get the new replacement parts until Monday, is it possible to use the straightened push rods temporarily until then? Also, there is a star adjustment screw at the base of each push rod seat. Does this need to be readjusted? If so, how do I make this adjustment?
You could try them, I don't recommend it. Here is the Briggs site with the valve information. And yes, they should be adjusted. http://www.briggsandstratton.com/support/frequently asked questions/servicing %20 the %20 valve/Curtis B41,111.80121635542.
Curtis, why would the upper and lower push rods be bent to each of the rocker arms? What does this indicate about the valves themselves? Is there a potential problem here I should be looking for?
I think it is just a Briggs thing, does not seem to be any reason, it just happens. See it a lot on the Briggs engines. Usually just replacing the pushrods is all that is required, and valve adjustment.
You suggested changing all the aluminium pushrods to steel ones. Is there any reason that Briggs does not use all steel ones to start off with in the first place? The aluminium rod, besides having a greater diameter, also has a somewhat flattened circled ball at the end. The steel rod does not have this flattened section and is perfectly round at the end. Why the difference?
I don't know the why, I just know there have been plenty of the aluminum ones replaced with the steel ones.
Curtis, I have installed new steel pushrods into each valve lifter. The lower valve lifter on the left-hand side keeps bending the pushrod. What is the problem?
Is the valve stuck?
I believe the valve is stuck. Can it be unstuck?
Remove spark plug and feel for the piston, be sure piston is down, away from the valves, then oil the stem and tap on the valve with hammer, and see if you can get it working freely.
Curtis, success. I followed your instructions on how to unstick the non-moving valve that was bending all the pushrods. I placed a block of wood against the stuck valve lifter and gave it a swift hit with a hammer. The valve came unstuck. I straightened out the new bent steel pushrod and reused it. I made the adjustments to the valve lifter clearances and put all the pieces back together. It started right up and smoked for a while because of the oil I squirted into the cylinder to free up the stuck valve. All seems to be working well at this time. Thank you for your help. RW?
Good job. Thank you.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/ythi.